في الحلقة. أتمنى أن نلقاك في حلقات قادمة إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله. الله يبارك فيك وشكرا على الدعوة.
شكرا جزيلا لك. كان هذا مفهوم الطابور الخامس، وإلى مفهوم آخر إن شاء الله ضمن برنامج مفاهيم.
With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has extended his condolences to the families of the victims of a bus accident here in Algiers and declared a one-day national mourning. At least 17 Palestinians, including 4 children, were killed in airstrikes carried out today by the Israeli occupying army against various spots. And the summit meeting held in Anchorage, Alaska, between US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin failed to achieve any progress. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has declared a one-day national mourning with a national emblem being flown at half-mast starting Friday evening following the deviation and fall of a passenger bus off Wad Al Harash River in suburbs Algiers, which claimed the lives of 18 citizens and the injury of several others. Shortly after the accident, the Minister of the Interior, Local Authorities and Town Planning, Brahim Murad, went to the spot and affirmed that the emergency and rescue plan activated following the fall of a passenger bus in Wad Al Harash River had been implemented with complete efficiency. Mr. Murad told the press that the emergency and rescue plan was activated with complete efficiency, adding that all those involved fulfilled their duty thanks to the availability of the necessary resources to implement the plan. The minister emphasized the commitment of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, to ensuring continuous monitoring of the care operations for the victims and injured in the accident. In this painful ordeal, Mr. Murad offered his sincere condolences to the families of the victims, praying to Almighty Allah to grant them patience and comfort while wishing a speedy recovery to the injured. Let's listen to the Minister of the Interior.
The situation is handled very well. May Allah have mercy on those who died, and we are here to extend the condolences of the President of the Republic to their families. All arrangements will be made to bury them as soon as possible. We thank the medical team led by Professor Belhaj. You can see the strong relation with the President of the Republic, who has been closely following the response of the unfortunate event and decided to decree a 24-hour national mourning and grant aid to the families, as he has always done.
In the conclusion of his speech, Mr. Murad also emphasized the intensification of efforts to ensure that similar accidents do not happen again in the future. For his part, the Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense and Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, General Said Chingriha, has visited the Central Army Hospital in Ain Najah, the Salim Zmirli Specialized Hospital in Al Harash, and the Mustafa Basha University Hospital in Algiers to inquire about the health of those injured in the tragic accident that occurred Friday following the fall of a passenger bus off Wad Al Harash River in suburbs Algiers, and provide them and their families with moral support. Earlier, the Deputy Director of Communication at the Civil Protection Directorate, Commander Bernawi Nassim, underlined the substantial human and material resources mobilized by the civil protection teams to rescue the victims, provide them with the first aid, and then transport them to the hospital.
The accident happened when a passenger bus deviated and fell off, falling into the Wad Al Harash River. Here in Mohammedia, the bus transports passengers across internal lines in the capital Algiers. As soon as it received the call, the civil protection mobilized extensive human and material means. Unfortunately, the preliminary death toll amounts now to 18 on the spot and 23 injured, including 3 in a critical condition. The operation is still ongoing by the civil protection divers to ensure there are no other victims in the river. After pulling the bus out of the water by the technical crew, we made sure that no persons are stuck inside. We mobilized 25 ambulances, 16 divers and 6 pneumatic boats, as well as other means that allowed us to carry out a first response, rescue 23 victims and transport them to the hospital of Smirli before transferring them to other hospitals and transferring the bodies of the dead to various mortuaries in Algiers hospitals. Operations are still going on with the mobilization of other means and the coordination among all the services headed by the Director General of the Civil Protection and the Governor of Algiers, as well as the concerned departments in charge of handling this type of incidents.
And for his part, the head of the Forensic Medicine Department at Mustafa Basha University Hospital in Algiers, Rashid Belhaj, explained the entire emergency plan activated by the hospital to receive and handle the injured and, unfortunately, the deceased.
The personnel of the Mustafa Basha University Hospital, including the doctors, nurses and administrative staff, minutes after the tragedy, were contacted by the security services. We prepared all the emergency services. We have 12 emergency services, and we moved to the spot and carried out all the procedures for transporting the wounded. At Mustafa Basha, we received only 4 slightly injured people, including 2 civil protection agents who were trying to rescue the victims, but unfortunately were revered 18 bodies. Given the place where the accident occurred, which is in the Wadi Harrash River, which contains, as you may know, polluted. We must keep them under observation for 48 hours, and if there is nothing, they will be able to leave the hospital.
And it's worth recalling that 18 people were killed in the fall of the passenger bus and 23 injured, including 3 in a critical condition. The President of the Republic, Ms. Abdelmajid Tebboune, and other political figures have extended their condolences to the families of the victims of an accident following the crash or the fall of a bus off Wad Al Harrash River here in Algiers. Mariam Bershi has more details.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has extended his condolences and deepest sympathy to the families of the victims. As a sign of solidarity with the victims' families, President Tebboune has declared a one-day national mourning. The Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, Army General Zaid Changreha, the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Mr. Azzouz Nasri, the Speaker of the National People's Assembly, Mr. Brahim Boughali, also extended their condolences to the families of the victims. The President of the Arab Parliament, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Al Yamahi, for his part extended his condolences and deepest sympathy to the leaders, government, parliament and people of Algeria.
And to the Middle East now, where at least 17 Palestinians, including 4 children, were killed in airstrikes carried out today by the Israeli occupying army against various spots, including the southern town of Khan Yunis and the refugee camp of Bureij in the central part of the Gaza Strip. The news agency Wafa said that 9 people were killed while queuing outside an aid distribution center north of Gaza. It stressed that over 10 people have died over the past 24 hours due to malnutrition that threatens thousands of Palestinians on account of the Israeli blockade imposed on the territory for several months now. According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, at least 1,760 Palestinians have been killed since last May while trying to have access to food. The summit meeting held in Anchorage, Alaska, between U.S. President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin has failed to achieve any progress. The 3-hour-long meeting held on a military base was described as constructive by the Russian president and was hailed as very productive by President Trump. In statements made to the press, the American president stated that there were very few questions to be addressed before reaching settlement to the war in Ukraine. Later on, the American president affirmed in a message posted on his Truth social network that the best way to put an end to conflict in Ukraine was to move directly towards a peace agreement instead of a ceasefire accord. It is worth recalling that President Trump had informed the European leaders about the outcome of this meeting his meeting with President Putin. The U.S.-Russian summit meeting was held by the UN as a continued constructive dialogue between the member states. And finally, in Pakistan, more than 300 people have died in the northwestern part of the country following 2 days of intense rains and floods. Local officials reported that rescue efforts and clearing of blocked roads were ongoing, with the release of emergency funds adding that the heavy rains would continue until August 21st. Cloud bursts, flash floods, lightning strikes, landslides, and the collapse of buildings caused the most deadly spell of this year's monsoon season. Not only Pakistan but also parts of neighboring India and Nepal have been hit hard by heavy rains, flooding, and other rain-related incidents over the past week. And with this, we'll come to the end of this news bulletin for today. Time now for our weekly programs. With this, we'll leave you, and we'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of a news bulletin. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.
Welcome to your weekly program, Destination Algeria. I'm Jamal Sameni. There are a number of great destinations in Algeria just waiting to be discovered. A curious